Well, that is not what we were looking for. Welcome in, everybody. It's Three Guys Before the Game. It's our Iowa State game recap. The fellas are here, El Senatore and the Hopster. And we're going to do this thing looking back on the Mountaineers and the Cyclones. Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by Comax Business Systems. They keep West Virginia's business data safe and secure and efficient for 25 years. By GoMart. Get yourself a GoMart rewards card, and basically it's like money in your pocket. You save on food, fuel, and everything in store. Go to GoMart.com for details or download the app. Have the GoMart app right there on that mobile handheld device. Three Guys brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. By the way, I got some information. Had a conversation this week about the Avalon boats.
Really?
Get into that.
Okay.
Three Guys brought to us by Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way. It's Tudor's Biscuit World. Spreads on Stats is coming up, breaking down the game analytically. Sponsored by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. All righty, so welcome in. It's less than 12 hours since the Mountaineer game against Iowa State has been completed. So we're still in the what do you call it? It's not the cleansing mode. What would you say, Hoppy? It's the reality mode.
Yeah, I think you're just You're still absorbing.
Processing.
Processing mode.
Processing.
Still
Thank you. Yeah.
Processing.
Yeah.
Or if you're Canadian, you say processing. We're processing at 28-16. Final score: West Virginia falls to Iowa State. Remember last week after the Oklahoma State game, I said number of texts decreases when they win, increases when you lose. Right? It's just human nature, right?
Right.
When you get upset,
Sure.
you react. And like to thank all the folks at the paper company because we just made you money today. A lot of texts. All right, we'll get into those a little bit later on. We have not spoken really about the game yet. We don't do that until we hit the red record button. So let's find out what these two gentlemen are thinking. Hopster.
I loved the coal rush and the coal miners walking in with the team. And the coal mining business is complicated. There are a lot of things that have to go right to get the coal out of the ground from underground into the shuttle car, out, processed, on the rail car, the barge, to the place that it needs to go. A lot of things, Brad, have to go right.
Okay, fair.
Shuttle car breaks down. You can't get the miners to the point. Don't do the roof bolt right. That's risky. Continuous miner, if you don't do routine maintenance on the continuous miner, then things are going to break down. So a lot of things have to go right to get that mineral out of the ground. If one or two things don't go right or you don't take care of business, then you're not going to mine coal. You're not going to move coal. So completing the metaphor for West Virginia, just not enough things went right for West Virginia. A couple of key penalties, a couple of turnovers, unable to move the ball. I know you have some other stats on this, and you depend on the rush, but really the rush wasn't effective as you hoped it would be. So just a couple of things did not go right. As a result, you lose the game to a team that did more things right.
Yeah, I'd have to say it's pretty doggone well done. You tied in the whole theme.
Yeah, I tried to tie in the theme, yeah.
Do you have a sounder for my Hoppy's obvious observation?
Let me see. There's one here. Let me just do this because we never get to use these enough. There you go. You get you get a 3-second stinger.
Now it's time for Hoppy's obvious observation that I will take. That was a good metaphor, by the way. The coal rush was awesome.
It was awesome.
Uniforms looked great. Drone show, right, was fantastic.
Yes.
Crowd did its part.
Yes.
Awesome. Great promotion around that game. Loved it. It was awesome. Here's my obvious observation on this, and we'll get into the weeds, I realize. But macro, Iowa State did what it does better than West Virginia doing what it does best to win games. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. Iowa State was what Iowa State has been. Defensively, even with all of their injuries, they made it difficult on West Virginia and didn't give you enough possessions to be inefficient at times, and West Virginia was inefficient at times. Offensively, they didn't make mistakes. Their passing game was really good. Their quarterback was poised, under control, did not make mistakes, and played extremely well in a really difficult road environment. That, when you walked away from that, if you were looking outside in, you went, that's what Iowa State has been about. And there's a lot of different angles to go. They were better at what they do than West Virginia was better at what it does. Iowa State wins the game.
Yeah. Oh, you're spot on. Spot on. I come out of it just extremely disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just extremely disappointed. Yet again, another opportunity that is built up, and opportunity is right there in your hand, and you do not go out and play to the level of efficiency which is required to beat a very good team. And to your point, extremely impressed with Iowa State. If you were to watch that game, that is the absolute template of how Iowa State wins football games.
Absolutely.
I give them a ton of credit, and they were surgical. I just sent a text to Anthony Becht, in fact, and talking about his son's play, Rocco, and I said he was surgical. He was in absolute total control the entire night. Mm-hmm. Not at one point did he look off kilter. Surgical. Mm-hmm. And they did so many different things. They do a lot of great stuff. They're unbalanced and just fantastic. And he threw the heck out of it. Conversely, West Virginia, you had your opportunities. Neil repeatedly said, okay, this game is going to be decided on whether you get touchdowns once you get inside the red zone, the score zone. And you got it the first time, you missed the field goal, and subsequently interceptions, 2 interceptions. That was not, you could not make those. And so their lack of playing clean cost them the game. This was not a hard game. You don't need to do calculus to figure out why this game was decided the way that it was decided. And with all that being said, it again becomes disappointing because offensively, these are the moments and these are the opportunities and the situations where a player or a group of players becomes the alpha dog and they take control of the game, right? Through the years of Mountaineer football, you have to have someone that stands above all others and just makes high-level plays. And it did not and does not happen with great regularity. You can call them dogs. You could use curse words to describe that character of that person. And at this point, you don't have that dog. And as a result, you lose the game.
That missed field goal, and start with the what you thought was a catch from Rodney Gallagher, they go back and review it. That right there, starting at that moment, if that it was ruled a catch, if that stays a catch, now you're cooking. It wasn't. It goes to incomplete. You start to, it felt like a missed opportunity. Okay, Michael Hayes is coming on. Hasn't missed that kick in 2 years.
You're up 10-0.
Hasn't missed it all. Just go ahead, take the points, Hop. Go up 10-0.
Yep.
You're rolling. They're on their heels. There had to be a moment of, if you make that field goal, Iowa State's going, oh, yeah, this is a tough place to play. Oh, we didn't start well. There's a little bit of that. And you miss it, and you just felt it, didn't you?
Yeah.
You felt it. Like, that's a major moment in this game. It was early. There was a lot of football left. You had been mowing right through their defense, and it still felt like, oh, no here. And then 3 plays later, they big play you. There's a wide open receiver just running clear with just green grass around him. And you felt, at least I felt at that moment, you got big problems here tonight. It turned, at least for me, it turned that fast for me. Look at that first drive. You just ran a perfect drive right down their throat, 11 of 14 plays, told you they couldn't stop the run, and you're just banging right on them, and then it just fell apart that quickly is what it felt like to me.
And I share your thought on that possession, on the Gallagher incompletion drop, whatever you want to call that. You go up there 14-0, and then the next level of emotion in that stadium ignites. Mm-hmm. And to your point, yes, it was only the second possession of the game. How can you say, like, it got away from you there? Because your margin for error is so small. That possession does matter, even though it's possession 2 out of 9 in the game. that one's good. There's only 9 possessions.
Yeah, but I thought, and I know what you're saying about the field goal, and I generally agree, but the fact you were able to move the ball twice, and then you missed that field goal, but you were able to move the ball twice effectively at that point. To me, the bigger sign was then when they got their possession and Big played you. That to me was that was more of a warning sign to me that they can big play you, and how they did it indicated that you still have these defensive problems that they were able to exploit.
Right.
And yet, now I'll talk out of the other side of my mouth. Then you come out at halftime. And listen, Iowa State thought that same thing. They were ultra aggressive at the end of the first half, right? That wasn't a team that was making, okay, we're going to take one shot and try and get a field goal here, and if we don't, we'll just run out the clock. That was a use every time out, give me the ball, we're going to attack you guys. We think we've got you on the ropes. You come out in the second half, and here comes the defense. Nice job, defense. You get off the field twice, force 2 punts after what looked in a first half like you might have to score 40 to win. The defense then did its job to start the second half, and there goes the offense. The offense can't get itself going. So you did get back in with a chance. You're down 4, and the offense then couldn't take the baton and go with it.
You did, and that's a great point. The offense then stalled out badly in the second half. By the same token, though, Iowa State just said, well, I'll tell you what, we're gonna just line up. We're gonna give it to Hansen, and he's gonna run for 100 yards. He's gonna score 3 touchdowns, and so they were able to manage the clock and put together long drives and limit your possibilities.
They choked you out.
Yeah, they choked you.
They squeezed you. They were an anaconda. They squeezed you.
They absolutely choked you. They said, come here a little bit more. I'm going to take a little bit more air. Going to take a little bit. I mean, those were epic drives. They were, and someone in the text line a little bit later, and I said this during the ad, I said, this is like water torture that you're going through right now. They're just dripping and dripping, or paper cuts, like one paper cut at a time. That was I keep saying the word surgical. That was surgical is what they did.
You look at moments in games where you can seize the advantage or not, and that's why I think that the missed field goal was so massive. Because and here's why, to play that further. You got that they missed a field goal, right? So now the advantage swung your way. You're a big tennis guy. So that swings. You get their team to miss a field goal, that's usually a good sign. You go on a nearly 8-minute drive to start and wear almost the entire first quarter out, and you bury them, and you're going, okay, that's an advantage to us. We got 2 points of advantage right there in this game. That's a great sign. Oh, hold on. Wait. Now we missed a field goal. West Virginia misses a field goal. They're saying that to themselves. We missed one. Now that gives that advantage back. Oh, wait, they just went on an 8-minute drive too? You gave that advantage back. So the stuff you had seized, you gave it right back to them. You mentioned those drives, actually 8 possessions, Tony.
I know, 9. They had 9. Iowa State had 9. West Virginia only had 8. So
here's what gets you. And Hoppe was one of my keys to the game yesterday, was it not? Right?
Yes,
in the red zone, you've got to convert because you're not going to get a lot of those possessions. And that's where that margin of error, Tony, that you mentioned, comes into play. You had the 2 touchdowns, you had a field goal, and then you missed a field goal. That's it. That's half of your drives were 10 plays or more. You did have a little bit of success, and I'm going to get into this. These numbers do not match at least what I felt walking out after that game. This was a lot closer than what that game felt like.
Then when the
statistically,
stats, statistically, the fact that it looks better, what's that come down to? It comes down to a couple things. It comes down to a couple turnovers, the missed field goal, and just not making a play or 2 or 3 when you needed to.
You really could have called this episode Missed Opportunity. That's what the overall story of this day was, a missed golden opportunity for the program to move it forward around a great event. And then within the game, that's what cost you the game, were missed opportunities within the game.
Remember, it was a 5 on the opportunity scale.
Yeah. But you scored a 0 on the result.
Right.
Because you just didn't seize it.
Right. Exactly.
No, I'm looking at the numbers right now. Statistically, and you've got the analytics, and I've just got the base numbers. So West Virginia gives them the ball twice. So Iowa State has 9 possessions. Iowa State only had 40 more yards of offense, 394 to 354. Average per play in the game, this will be a surprising stat for people.
Yeah.
The average per play in the game was 5.5 for both teams.
Dude, I'm telling you. Well, here, let me just jump in because I've got this. I
don't want you to start spreads on stats.
Well, I've got more stats, but this counts. So it's an early Conley CPA spread on stats. Because this part to me is one when you walk out, they went on a 28-3 run. That game didn't feel close for a long time, right? You scored the touchdown. They go on a 28-3 run. It didn't feel close.
Wait a second. It's not basketball. You can't go on a 28-3 run.
28-3 run. Needed a timeout or something. I mean, stop it. Like, call timeout. You needed a TV timeout. Knock the ball out of bounds. Get a TV timeout. Do something. Take a charge.
Somebody.
Take a charge. Reignite the crowd.
Yeah.
They were getting outlet passes running down the floor on you. Total yards, 394 to 354. First downs, 23-22. Third down conversions, 9 of 14 for Iowa State, 9 of 13 for West Virginia. Yards per play, as you mentioned, 5.5 per team.
That's why I said this game is easy to figure out. Super simple game to figure out. You gave them the game. You made fatal mistakes.
They're +9 on the year on turnovers.
Yeah.
You're not.
No, you're not.
What is our plus minus now?
-5. There's only 6 Power 4 teams that are worse.
Can't win.
There you go.
So
There
you
you go.
wonder why you're treading water at 3-3
Yeah.
with some close losses. It is just the margin for error is a big word, Tony. You said that earlier. That's a theme for this season and this league. You just don't have a lot of opportunities where you can not be at your best and get wins over very solid programs. All of them. Very solid programs. And you can't go in and get a punt block for a touchdown at Pitt and walk out with a win. You can't lose turnover battles 2-0 in multiple games and get wins. And unfortunately, that's what West Virginia's been doing. That's been the story of this offense, where last year it was the opposite story. How many times did we talk about how great they were at taking care of the ball? They just didn't give turnovers. They just didn't give it away, and that allowed that offense to efficiently get going and add to the playbook and be more creative and give defenses problems. You're not only turning it over this year, Brandon Yates, and Neil said afterwards that he had a hand issue. The snaps were a real issue last night, guys. I mean, you're somewhere around 17 to 20% of the snaps on the night were not where they needed to be. So they didn't result in a catastrophe, which I thought was coming all night. I thought there was an over-the-head coming. Garrett getting his hand on the ball. Basketball charts deflections. Garrett had a lot of deflections and controlled it, but it throws off timing, and this offense is built on timing. So if a fifth of your plays are going to be thrown off against a defense that makes you be ultra-efficient, ball game.
Yeah,
just too many inefficiencies.
Green did have double-digit rebounds in the game.
It's not funny, but it's funny. You're right. You're absolutely right. That was as close to watching someone like go down a hill without their brakes on and like swerving and go, oh, almost,
yeah, like,
you're just going like this thing. They're going to end up with one of these, and even the one on a handoff to C.J. Donaldson blew the complete timing up.
Right.
He slips and falls.
Yep.
Garrett on a couple of broken plays has to bring the ball down. That also was kind of a microcosm of the night. You were not sharp. You were not crisp. You were not efficient. You can't jack around when you're trying to beat these dudes. You have to play cleanly. It was not clean.
It didn't.
So where do you go now? Where do you do? Where do you call? I tell you where you call, Hoppy.
Where?
You call Comax Business Systems up and you say, hey, I need to talk to somebody. And if you're a business owner, they'll say, hey, not a problem. They've got business phone systems from 1 digital line to 1,000 digital lines. Technology is pretty amazing. The way that what these phones can do now. Basically, the Comax digital phone systems
Don't start.
Well, they can do everything except make your bed and your coffee. Other than that, they can do it.
Well, and I haven't confirmed this because it's too early. I haven't talked to anybody in the department. Were they in charge of the drone show last night? Their technology helped run that drone show?
Yeah, they provided the firewall.
Okay.
They provided the firewall. So Comax Business Systems, call now
to confirm.
For a free price quote, call Comax Business Systems up. They will take care of you. A little free price quote, competitively priced. You can buy it, rent it, lease it. Maybe you barter for it. Say, hey, I got 5 loads of firewood. What do I get? Phone handle, a receiver, something like that. Go to ComaxWV.com.
When somebody shows up at Comax with an F-150 loaded with 2 cord of wood.
Bob's a great guy. Bob over there
Bob
at Comax. Bob will take care of it. Bob will take care of it. They got, besides the phone systems, they've got from A to Z any kind of a business office equipment that you would need. Plus, they do data monitoring and remote stuff. So they're great West Virginia people. ComaxWV.com. Ready to do the spreads-ish on stats-ish?
Sure, let's go.
I'm anxious to hear this.
So you're saying, so what did you say? What's your theme on the numbers? You're saying that, well, heck, let's just do this thing and get this enchilada lifted up here. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
So I checked the numbers. We'll just go right to the numbers. Here comes a heater.
Let's jump into the analytics portion of the show. Spreads on stats. a feature of Three Guys Before the Game brought to us by Conley CPA Group. They do provide value beyond numbers. Getting ready for their 40th anniversary, homegrown here in the state of West Virginia. They've got clients across the state and surrounding states. Complete service public accounting and consulting firm serving clients for years and decades now. Outsource your accounting. They can do that. They can help you. You can do some of it internally. You can have them do all of it. They can do some of it outsourced. Also, CFO services. Take away the stress associated with all the accounting stuff that you don't really want to do. And doing all that turnover and people leave, people come, just let Conley CPA Group take it over. And people that get into business, they don't go like, boy, I'm going to get into my own business here because I really want to do my accounting.
Right. Not
many people say that, right?
Love the paperwork.
Yeah, love the paperwork. Let Conley take care of that stuff. All right. I'm interested to see what the supercomputer has spewed about this game.
All right, let's jump around here. And this is the overall theme of this is going to be the numbers and the way you walk out of that stadium feeling in terms of the disappointment don't match each other here. So let's do what we do. Let's go back to the preview show and recap what we said, because this was an all-time, this should have happened and it didn't. The fact that you didn't run and bury these guys via the run will go down all season, Hoppy. I will come back to that all season long. The numbers showed you should have been able to run more. And West Virginia was fine. Average 4.6 yards per carry, 150 yards rushing, 148 to be exact. Fine. But that was not the performance you needed on the ground in order to win this game, given what Iowa State's numbers told you, and given the depletion at linebacker. Those injuries did come to fruition. And that's where West Virginia didn't do enough job with a depleted unit to run it. Credit Iowa State for those guys being able to step in. Guys, they had a kid by the name of Rylan Barnes from Britt, Iowa, a walk-on for them, a redshirt freshman walk-on, plugged in. It wasn't the only one. They had another true freshman, Bo Goodwin, that played at linebacker. They were not going with their normal linebackers. Rylan Barnes ends up as the 6th best defender for Iowa State. Hats off to that kid.
Plays.
Hats off to that kid. But West Virginia should have been able to punish that defense running the ball, and you just didn't do enough of it. If I had told you on Thursday that Garrett was going to go for 87 yards on the ground and 8.7 yards per carry,
Bingo.
You'd say that's probably a win. And throw it like they threw it. That's a win almost every time. You know what got you? This number blew me away. 2.5 yards per carry for West Virginia's running backs. Right there. This team can't win many games when that happens. That had to be more successful running it. And again, some of that we outlined. It was the game plan had to change when you got behind, and the inability to get an efficient offense because the snaps were throwing off right away. That caught you right there. You got half your rushing yards on that in the first quarter, which was basically most of that first drive.
Okay, stop right there. Those are your two biggest numbers. So Jaheim White and C.J. Donaldson, 21 carries for 63 yards. Not going to get it. And you said, give me that number again. You just said.
Yeah, you ran for 76 yards in the first quarter. You finished with 148 rushing yards. Did I do the math right? It's a little more than half, right?
So you got 72 yards after your first drive for the rest of the
quarter. First quarter.
After the first quarter. 72 yards in the second, third, and fourth quarter. You can't win.
Ball game. Against a team that was struggling to stop the run.
But to your point, that's what's deceiving. If you just take a look at the stacked numbers, they average 4.6 yards per carry.
Yeah.
It's good enough to win.
Yeah.
Not really.
It was not. It was not on this night. All right, one of the other things we talked about incessantly, Hop, and I know I wore you out during the game last night talking about it. What part of the field was open during the passing game?
The middle.
Middle of the field. Said in the preview, you've got to run it to suck them up, hit them between, then start to get some plays. It was there all night. You saw it. We said going in that Garrett had a 68% completion percentage on throws from 10 to 20 yards from the line of scrimmage in the middle of the field. That's where you have to cook. That's where you have to cook against Iowa State. In that zone, 6 of 10 for 105 of his 206 passing yards. Right there. It was good. Now expand that out. Middle of the field from the line of scrimmage to 20 yards downfield. 14 of 21, 67% completion percentage for 170 of his 206. It was right there. So had you run it a little bit better and you're hitting the pass and you're working Cole Taylor and you got Cole Taylor against those linebackers and you got Traylon Ray against those, it was right there. You just couldn't do enough to get through with that. We mentioned already the turnover margin. That was just the biggest thing right there. You just continue to struggle with giving the ball back to the other team. That was a major part last night. Some other just odd numbers here that when you look at it overall, take some PFF grades. That was Iowa State's second worst defensive grade.
Really?
Did that feel like the second worst defensive grade for an Iowa State defensive team?
No.
Did it feel like a really good offensive performance for West Virginia? Not really, right? Second worst coverage grade for Iowa State. Talked all week about their defensive backs. You had some success throwing the football. That was a below average tackling grade for Iowa State in that game. Although they had some moments. You had Jaheim White on the edge in a one-on-one matchup that has the potential to be a 50 or 60-yard run, and you take Jaheim White in that matchup 10 times out of 10. He goes to shake. Iowa State defender made a nice play in the open field. Those were things you've got to get those in a game when it was a few plays could have flipped that around.
See, that's when I'm talking, going back to my initial point about someone making a big-time play. Those are those opportunities where you break a tackle and you scoot and you're gone. Huge momentum builder for your team. The crowd blows up, but it doesn't. It just becomes this. You just don't get the – this is all about energy and emotion. And
what was the crowd like? When did the crowd – because the crowd was into it big for how long? Then when did it dissipate?
Probably middle of the third quarter.
Okay. When
you feel like you're getting paper cutted.
Okay.
You know, you hang in there, but you didn't like the vibe. Mm-hmm. You loved the vibe after the first drive.
You lost the vibe.
You lost the vibe. But also, their 60-yard touchdown reception on the blown assignment, that also was like a huge blank.
Yeah.
I've seen this before. Yeah. And then the missed field goal. It slowly evaporates. Yeah.
And yet there were those moments, but you go back to those two receivers, Higgins and Knoll, that we talked about so much. Oh. And listen, they're both super talented. 11 catches, 179 yards, but you end a touchdown streak at 7 games for Higgins. He didn't have one. Knoll had one on that one. So had you told me that on Thursday, that you held them to one touchdown catch there, I would have said, okay, you're probably in. You hold Rocco to one touchdown pass. He'd thrown multiple touchdown passes in 8 of 9 games. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Rocco was outstanding. I thought he was really good. And listen, that's not a surprise, guys. If we know Anthony forever, you know how Rocco has come up and you've watched him. You knew he was going to come in here and not be flustered by all the stuff going on around him. And he handled his business. But if you had told me one touchdown pass and Higgins didn't have one, I'd say, okay, you're right there. But yet I felt like their passing game was really, really good last night.
Well, it's because of third down. They absolutely kept drives alive on third down. I mean, countless times West Virginia's defense could not get off of the field.
Right.
They're throwing well-executed passes right to the stick, getting the first down, keeping drives alive.
So let's hop one second. Let me give a Rocco real quick here to put a cap on his performance. And again, this is not a surprise, guys. We talk about this a lot. We said it going in. You've got to be able to get some pressure on him. One of the differences with him this year, he's more apt to run. So he can avoid pressure. He's good with his legs. This was a little different. They called some more design runs for him this game in high leverage third and the fourth down situation. But how about this? 15 of 18 for Rocco, 83% completion percentage for 209 of his 265 yards when he was not pressured.
Oh, yeah. I watched the tape of him before. The Baylor tape, that's what I saw. If you don't get in his face and make him move a little bit, he will stroke you out.
Which is quarterbacks in this league. If you're a starting quarterback in this league and you don't get to them and they can stand, they're going to crush you. He did. That's too many attempts with no pressure for a really accurate, good quarterback. Under pressure, 3 of 8, 37.5% for 56 yards. You want to help your defensive backs get some pressure. West Virginia did at times, not nearly enough. Okay, Hop, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, just that you're right. If you would have said, will you take a Higgins getting 6 or 7 receptions, no touchdowns, you go, yeah, okay, I'll take that. But the difference is, does somebody else do something? Okay, you're subtracting with Higgins, but does somebody else step up? Like at West Virginia, if Garrett Green, didn't run the ball, but C.J. Donaldson had 110 yards, you go, okay, I'll make that trade. So for Iowa State, Hansen, how much did we talk about Hansen coming into the game?
Didn't mention him once.
Did we mention his name? And he runs for 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. So that makes up for Higgins not getting a touchdown, right?
Yeah, so Hansen really good, right? 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. Team averaged under 3 yards a carry.
Then why does it seem like
your running game wasn't good? You held them in check. They couldn't run the ball. They thought their running game was back. They'd run for 200 yards in 200 yards rushing in 3 straight games. You held them to 2.9 per carry. I talked about pressure. You didn't get enough pressure on Rocco. They'd given up 4 sacks coming into the game, top 5 in the country. You got 2. So the raw numbers, this is one of those times when statistics did lie to you. You see some of these raw numbers without having watched the game, and you went, well, what the heck happened there? And so you're right, Tony, to oversimplify it, just the mistakes. You miss a field goal, you have 2 turnovers, ball game. You want some grades?
Yes.
Yeah, might as well. Go ahead.
Again, to stay with the theme of lying.
Lying?
Statistics lying to you. This was PFF-wise, and again, these will, early Sunday morning, they will mature a little bit, but they're in the ballpark. Second best overall grade on the season for you.
Really? Really? That's hard to believe.
Offensively?
Overall grade. Includes offense and defense.
That was your second best.
I'm taking out Albany. It's your second best game. Overall grade.
Huh. That shocks me.
Passing game. Second best passing grade. Just slightly behind the Kansas game. Pass blocking, second best game. Defense, 0.8 of a point off your best game.
That's
So what do you make of that? You know how I like to give you some analytics to back up what you saw. I don't think they didn't feel like they matched to me. Now, if you listen to Neil afterwards, it was interesting, Hop. Neil's reaction was similar to what I'm saying from a number standpoint, where he didn't feel like it was a total disaster collapse, recognized it was a disappointing loss, but we did this. We were right there in these categories. Couple missed opportunities. Retitle the show, Missed Opportunities.
Yeah.
I don't know what the takeaway is from that, guys. I don't know what the takeaway is that the numbers lied to you a little bit. It's still a loss, still a disappointing loss.
Yeah,
but I just find that interesting how that graded out.
It's fascinating. Then go back to macro, and that is, what is the desire of Mountaineer Nation, and that is win some of these games. Okay, it's a close game. You're a home dog. Everything is set up for you. Win the game. And there haven't been enough. Last week was great against Oklahoma State. Like, oh, okay, you go on the road against an opponent you've struggled with, and you dominate the game. So you're looking, Tony, for more of those kinds of games where statistically, even though it doesn't look like it at times, statistically it's very even or even played pretty well at times. Then you have to find a way to win the game in that situation. And that's been one of the criticisms of Neil Brown is you've not been able to win enough of those games.
Correct. As is evidenced in the upcoming textual healing.
Okay.
That's what what you just said is basically what the fan base is. As we said, when whatever the game that was, it was Kansas earlier this season, all of this is based upon emotion. All of this is based upon emotion. And as a fan, when you come in and you engage in the opportunity to watch, high risk, high reward. We often say that, right? And the general consensus is that, you have to give me something to replenish my desire. I need a little shot of dopamine, so to speak. And every time I come out of here, instead of that, it feels like, right, I'm not getting that. I got a little bit of a tick.
Daddy needs a little fix.
That's what's happening. Mm-hmm. You build it up, but that's the risk reward that we do in following sports and following teams, whatever the team is. You engage, you invest, you don't get it, negative reaction.
And on these moments when the emotional investment is more or higher, the crash is greater.
Yes.
Right? And so this was one of those with all of the stuff going around it and all the fun and excitement and the momentum you had built, the emotional investment had been elevated, so the crash is going to be harder and the feeling of disappointment is greater.
Yeah,
I get it, right? During the game, I couldn't stand myself.
Oh my gosh, you were beside yourself. Well, it's a double crash because you lost the game and you have a terrible feeling because it was all set up. It was this huge event, and then if you do take the time to look at the statistics and say, "Oh my gosh, it's worse than I thought," because you were statistically there and can't win the game.
It makes you more angry.
Yeah,
exactly right. Makes you more angry. Makes you want to scream.
Last one, and then let's move on because the numbers are the numbers, and they're lying to us today anyway, so I'm done with the numbers. Only 4 rush plays of 10 yards or more. So they again, back to my original Hoppy's obvious observation that I delivered today.
Mm-hmm.
They Iowa State, and defensively in this case, did what they do. You're not going to big play us. We're going to keep everything out in front of us, and that was the case. West Virginia couldn't pop that big running play on the outside in particular, or straight up the middle as you saw against Oklahoma State.
Spreads on Stats, brought to us by Conley CPA Group. 3 Guys, also brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales, the state's largest pontoon boat dealer here in the state of West Virginia. Family-owned for 4 decades. I often say that they sell the Avalon boats, which are manufactured in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And
Michigan or Minnesota?
Michigan. And so friend of the program came to me at the other night. I saw her, and she's the friend that grew up with the Avalons.
Yeah. She's
up
a
there in
marathon
Michigan.
runner.
She said the Avalons, sounds like there's at least 2 of them that run that manufacture these boats, 100% made in America, and that's what the boats Lou Wendell sells. She says they're giddy about 3 Guys.
Oh, really?
That we're actually talking about Avalons. Most talk about Avalon since Frankie Avalon. So the Avalon boat's a premier pontoon boat, and the premier pontoon boat dealer in our state is Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Besides the pontoons, they also have those G3 John boats, which are just absolutely terrific. Check them out, LouWendellMarineSales.com.
Good job, Stats.
Those are weird stats.
They
Maybe
are
the
weird.
weirdest batch of stats that we've seen since you started doing this.
Weird.
Yeah.
It actually didn't make you feel better. Made you feel worse.
There has to be then a stat for, didn't you? What was the stat you had? It was something about, what was it called? Something factor? Where?
You got anything special you're holding back on us, Senator? Any kind of a special factor stat?
No, what are you talking about?
Oh, no, there's something. But there should be then a stat that says, even though
Yeah,
these
I
are
know
what
what
the
he means.
stats are.
I know what he means. It's that there's like a
win probability, win expectancy.
Yeah.
That's usually what we go to. Now I've all looked at it now, but that's going to be the other weird thing. I'm sure the Iowa State win expectancy, and that was in the 90 percentile. Because did it ever feel after that first quarter? Did it ever feel like West Virginia was there?
No,
you were down 4.
No.
It felt like 14.
Yes,
right.
correct.
So
yeah.
I'll look up post game. I didn't, but I will right now.
All right, no extra charge. That's coming up. Time now for textual healing. You can dial us up, send us a comment, question, 304-404-4083. It's brought to us by episode800.com. Episode, use the regular letters, and then 800, episode800.com.
I stand corrected again.
What?
Numbers lying?
Post-game win expectancy for Iowa State, just 60%.
Really?
So that's when they take all the data in and they say, okay, based upon these numbers, this
because
team...
they're looking at the numbers we are. So again, real feel. That's like kind of like wind chill factor. Like what's the temperature? Then what's the real feel? Wind chill factor.
Okay. So as I said earlier on, as we jump into this stuff, more than we can use, but general themes will be communicated. You'll get the gist. If your text did not get used, nothing against you. It's just that just so many. All right, let's do this. Sean in Raleigh. Good morning, gentlemen. Well, they did it again. This team gets me excited, and then they just throw a big bucket of cold water on me. And to be honest, I'm getting a little tired of it. I'm sure there are plenty of texts that assign blame fairly, unfairly, singularly, collectively, so I'm not going to do that. I'll just say this. At some point, you are what your record says you are. I do understand the reality, but we're kind of spinning the wheels, and that's deflating on many levels. All that being said, the Big 12 has got to do something with this officiating. It's every single game across the board. Anyway, on to the next. Sean in Raleigh.
Hey, on that, a question. So on the holding call
in the end zone?
Yeah.
Aiden Gardens.
So But the hold occurred before the pass, which was uncatchable, right? So therefore, it's a legitimate call, right? I mean, Neil Brown lost his. So what, guys? What's the call there? I mean, they threw the flag before the pass, before the throwing away the ball.
You're going to make me get all the texts again. Everybody yells at me when I say it's officiating.
I think it's probably fair to say this. When that crew is reviewed for its performance on the field, it will not be a good night.
Really?
To be a zebra wherever you may be. I think that's a fair statement. Fair statement?
Fair statement.
I think Neil was most livid on the Cole Taylor pass interference that he did not get, that he was held.
Right, yeah.
Texter, unconfirmed report that Hoppy was in Eugene, Oregon for college game day. Signed by Mike from, well, there he is. There's old, oh, my bad. That's Pete Thamel.
Oh.
That's Pete. I think they hit him with some silly string or something like that. Texter, hey, three guys, Bo from Somersville, long text alert. I need some textual healing. I'll start by saying this is not a Fire Neil text, nor am I a Fire Neil crazy. I would, however, like your guys' opinions on a few numbers. West Virginia is one of 4 Power 4 teams not to be ranked in the AP Top 25 since Neil took over at West Virginia. The other 3 are Texas Tech, surprise, Vanderbilt, and yes, Rutgers, with all due respect.
Rutgers.
To touch on Tony's comment Thursday, West Virginia should expect to win and compete with top 25 schools. I completely agree. Asking for a 1-1 split, not the West Virginia way. However, West Virginia now 2-15 against top 25 schools at WVU. From 2020 through 2024 in the Big 12, under 500 versus Power 4 programs. That is not the WVU way. We look great one week, then blah the next. Inconsistent. No true identity. I will be back at 7 a.m. next week picking up our Rev Kev's Game Day barbecue tray, which is a 10 out of 10, and each game after. But at what point does he genuinely lose the fan base? Seems like that time is near. Wins can change minds fast, but he doesn't seem to be able to win consistently enough to save it. Hope it proves me wrong. I'd like to know your thoughts, honest thoughts. Thanks for listening. Keep up the great work.
I'll give you mine. And that is, Ren Baker is not looking for a reason to fire Neil Brown. Ren Baker is up on Neil Brown. You know situations, Brad, where athletic directors are looking for an opportunity to move on to the next coach, right?
Yes.
Ren Baker is not doing that, A. B, he's still responsible for having a winning program, so he's got to look at it in a practical, analytical way, not an emotional way. C, because of the financials, Neil Brown, this team could go 5-7, 4-8, and my opinion is Ren Baker would not fire Neil Brown for a couple of reasons, including the financials. D, if you go 5-7, 4-8, then next year, the following year, becomes a determinative year. And if you would go 5-7, 4-8 the next year, then Ren Baker would, I think his hand would be forced. That's my opinion.
Texter, good morning, three guys. This game proved quite the conundrum for WVU football. On one hand, create a big event and revenue stream with new uniforms, new merchandise. On the other hand, create huge expectations and motivation for the opponent to ruin your special atmosphere. In the future, be conventional. Just take care of business on the field.
Do you go back to the uniforms again?
Yes.
Reason?
Because they look great. Yes.
Okay. Just wondering.
Yes.
You know, I'm not a uniform guy, but, man, those were nice.
Yeah, they're great.
Those numbers, the way they reflect off the light, that was, like, perfect.
And Mountaineer Nation responded.
You know, you can't be in the 1 week doesn't work and you change everything about your entire operation. You just got to keep coming.
You mean the gray uniforms?
But just all of it, just everything. Fire the entire coach. You just got to keep. You got to keep coming. And yes, you've got to win games. And yes, that was a missed opportunity last night. And yes, you've got to get back to the point where you're more consistent. You do. I get it. But you can't scrap everything each week and then be back in when there's 2 wins and everything's great. It's not that. You got to take the totality of it. You got to regroup now and find a way to get a win over a very good Kansas State team coming.
And again, you can call for. I know the folks that have wanted Neil Brown gone from the very beginning. Ren Baker is not going to fire Neil Brown this season. Mark that down. Not going to happen. Period.
And guys, I've said this many times, is why you have to look at it in totality here. And so I get that. I get the disappointment of you've got to get over the hump here. But then you're balancing that with how far away are you? Are you further away or are you closer? And then you start to do your 3 losses are to teams that are 18-0. Should you have beaten one of those? Yeah. You sure? You should have.
Yeah.
Texter, in-game text, Iowa State just scored, made it 21-10. Iowa State's a better team, doesn't hold on 3rd and goal, converts third downs, catches passes, doesn't turn it over. Unfortunately, year 6. Neil's records are mediocre, just being honest. I love the Mountaineers, really frustrating. I'm hoping for 6-6. See you at the food court for the Baylor game. I love the show, Rich. Satellite Beach, Florida.
Can I insert one more number? I said I was done with the numbers.
Yeah. Sure.
Success rate for the game, offensive success rate.
Which is what?
A play considered to be successful. I'll give you the exact definition. A play is considered to be successful. Oh, I just lost it. Goodness gracious.
Is that your turnover?
You want some time to...
That's my turnover.
Yeah. Brad had a turnover.
What's the thing, refreshing on you?
If it's successful, at least if you get 50% of the yards on first down that are needed, then it goes on from there. I won't stay up.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I'm having 1,000 pad snaps. I can't get my timing working here either.
I see what you're saying.
See, it happens
West Virginia, in 3 of the 4 quarters last night, had better than 50% success rate. 67% in the first, 55% in the third, 62%. 3 of the 4 quarters, so it shows up green, right? There's green or red. Iowa State only had 1 quarter where it had offense success better than 50%.
On first down?
No, the whole drive. Overall, I was just part of the definition includes first down.
Jennings text, I won't harp on the game. I'm sure the text line full of stuff. I just want to say thank you for the food court this season. Every time I visit, I meet new people. I interacted with Joel, just happened to see the food court when he stopped in. Plus, it was great to see 3 guys, especially after it got dark. Ooh.
Oh, you're right.
By the way, I made a new friend while tailgating. He's doing some good work with the NBA team in Cleveland, signed by Elite One. So was Gansey here? I don't know.
I didn't see Mike.
Is that who is he talking about, Gansey?
Well, maybe he saw him.
Yeah, P1 Jennings was he was there.
Looks totally different with his beard off.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Mustache back, though.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jennings. Always appreciate you.
Texter.
We had our picture made. You'll probably show it.
Yeah, later. The biggest solace, says Ben in Chicago, is that I take from this game is that because the Iowa legislature never finished all 28 locks on the Des Moines River in the 1840s and 50s, the Cyclones will not be able to enjoy a pleasant pontoon ride from Morgantown back to Ames on one of those Avalon boats from Lou Wendell.
They're high-stepping right now, though. First time they've won their first 6 games since 1938.
Yeah.
Which included wins in 38, Brad, over, what was that school you met?
Luther.
Big
rival. And Decorah, of course.
They had wins over Luther, Marquette, and somebody else that year.
Luther. They couldn't stop me. Lined up in Decorah, said, serve that up. I'm going to drill you. Well, I went up there my senior year, went about 8 hits in a doubleheader. Going to line up, just beat your ass, and then we're out of here. Friggin' Luther. Get out of here with your Luther.
Where is Luther?
Decorah, Iowa.
Decorah?
Yeah.
Did you play spring baseball?
Well, just lined up in an orange and black bus, just rode right into Decorah, said, come on, boys, we're here.
Did you guys play spring baseball in high school?
High school?
Yeah.
No, summer baseball.
What do you mean by that?
The high school season was in the summer.
After school was over?
Correct.
Probably followed all the regular rules, though, about practice.
You get about 2 days of nice weather in Iowa in the spring, so we had played in summer.
No reason to take a shot at your home state's weather. Hey, 3
State
guys.
facts.
On the bright side, West Virginia has only lost to teams that are undefeated to this point of the season. Hopefully better weekends are ahead, signed by J.D. from the Southern Coalfields. Ryan from Arden writes, in-game text, after Garrett's second INT, you guys nailed it. It basically came down to Rocco against Garrett. Rocco was the cleaner QB. Texter, man, Matt Campbell's a good coach, and he's got a heck of a staff to go with it. Hats off to Iowa State for withstanding a good West Virginia start and doing exactly what they wanted to the rest of the way. Go get them next week, Greg in Pittsburgh. Texter, we've now lost to 3 ranked undefeated teams and beat 3 teams we should have beaten. Although tonight was disappointing, we still have a tremendous opportunity ahead of us. If we can manage to beat a good K-State team, take care of business rest of the season. I don't think these 3 losses will look too bad when all is said and done. P.S. Cole Rush Unis looked absolutely amazing. Matt and Matthews, North Carolina. Texter, hey, 3 guys. West Virginia deserved to lose. The interceptions, multiple bad snaps, broken coverages, too much. But 1 penalty against a Power 4 team on the road, that is nuts, Sean, in Shanesburg, Washington State. Texter, this is Jason, sitting here at the game, 4:42 to go. I have an Iowa State fan sitting next to me. Adding insult to injury, he just says to me, hey, thanks for having us. Not even sure what to say.
Damn it.
Texter.
You know what? Props to them. They get it. They get it.
You win, you talk. You win, you talk.
Zach from Timonium, Maryland. Is that how you say it, Hoppy?
Yeah, Timonium, yeah.
2013 grab. Maybe this wasn't Neal's fault. Missed kick, bad interception, etc. when we were in the game. But you've had 6 years. Whenever big moments come, we shrink. If a CEO of a company reported losses year over year for 6 years, they'd be fired. I know players have to execute, but at some point after 6, you might be the problem. Love the show. This team won't give up. We deserve better. Texter, this cannot be excused as we played a better team. There's no way on earth you 3 can vindicate Neal or Jordan. Being embarrassed every single game of meaning is all coaching. Just be honest and say Neal has to go.
I think I spoke to that.
I mean, Oklahoma State on the road was a game of meaning until it wasn't.
Right.
We are very subjective with games of meaning. Again, knowing that was a disappointment last night.
Huge disappointment.
How many more times can we be embarrassed on national TV and not admit something's wrong? Please put us out of our misery. Make a change. I love the show. A battered fan in Morgantown. Mike in Orlando writes, at some point you have to seize these opportunities. There have been numerous opportunities. The result continues to be the same. I am numb. Texter, Tony, you asked West Virginia fans, we're expecting to beat both Iowa State and Kansas State, and we're hoping for just a split. Well, it's quite simple. Yes, I guess he said meant why West Virginia fans were asking. Well, the rosters are arguably equal. We face distinct coaching disadvantages in each game. Thanks for having us. P.S. A final reminder, Neal told Rocco that he wasn't good enough to play here. Grant from Parkersburg. I'd never heard that. Have you ever heard that?
No, that's not how I've heard that.
You've talked to Anthony?
That's not how I've heard that.
Oh, well, we should have seen it coming. Team never shows up when it matters. On to next year. I just don't understand why you 3 won't admit a change is needed. It's okay to say it out loud because we know what you're thinking. Actually, you don't.
Ben, I'll go ahead and tell you what I'm thinking. Ben, thanks for telling me what I think, but I'll go ahead and handle that with an open mic here on shows twice a week and every night. I'll tell you what I think, but thank you, Ben.
Very disappointing game. The defense gave us a chance in the second half. Bad snaps occurred all through our timing off, took us out of rhythm. 2 interceptions, daggers. You just can't have those mistakes from fifth-year seniors. Expect to beat a solid team. I love Garrett, but if he starts shaking next week, the entire stadium will be begging for Nico. I hope he can right the ship.
Garrett's struggling, and I don't know. I don't know, Brad. You look at the analytics. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on there. But last year, as we said many, many times, that he was elite. He was elite on multiple levels. And this year, the expectation through the roof, and you just keep waiting for him to have, and he has had some good performances, but it hasn't been elite like it was last year. And because he was elite last year, when he struggles, it stands out. It stands out dramatically.
Yeah, I think that's it. He was so dynamic last year and has such a great skill set, and it's just the production hasn't been there, guys. I'll just give you one number, and I think this is the crux of what slows down the offense at times, and it's the turnovers. And just on the interception side, guys, how many times did we talk last year about just the lack of interceptions? There were 4 of them on the year for Garrett, and 2 of them bounced off hands of receivers. It was just an elite passing year for Garrett in terms of that. He had a 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio last year, 4-to-1. So far this season, 7 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions. Mm-hmm. So at some point, he's going to break out here and get it going, but so far it's been a struggle. And some of that, guys, is defense is taking things away now, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've adjusted too. West Virginia has to adjust back to them.
Texter, honestly, the climb has been much too arduous. I firmly believe West Virginia had more talent out there than the Cyclones. I give them their flowers, but how many third downs can one team get beat and get beat by the most vanilla stuff because West Virginia loves to sit in soft zone? I was a patient as a fan with Hogs. I'm trying with Neil. Let's pump the brakes from now on when hyping up West Virginia after we've beaten a bad Kansas and Oak State team, as the Kool-Aid we all drank was left without sugar. Signed by a fan from Syracuse.
That Iowa State team, Tony, and again, I listened to Steve Dunlap, former longtime assistant coach. That's a well-coached team, and they do different things. They do a lot of different things. They keep you just off base. I mean, defense. Dunlap pointed out a number of times, they will bring only 4 guys on pressure, but you don't know where the 4th guy is coming from. So it's a pretty good team. I'm not sure if they're the 7th best team in the country. New ranking is out today, but they're pretty good.
Chris from Houston, formerly Putnam County, and I do own land in Greenbrier County. Landowners have been a little bit quiet of late.
They have.
Right? I never thought we were winning any championship, but after our second drive, I said we'd lose by 10 or 17. Because Neil will freak out, over-adjust, and Garrett Green will try to win the game on every play. We go away from the run, which worked the first drive, and is what all the underlying stats coming in say to do. We continue to pretend that Jordan Leslie has a clue what he's doing coaching defense. Neil's a good man running the program as one, but he just can't win a big game. It's time to move on, as this was supposed to be our one in every 4 years.
I mean, they did make adjustments to the run after you ran it 11 times down their throat. They made some adjustments. So you went to the pass, which, again, having effect. It was working. You were getting pass blocking. You talk about pressure hop. They had 2 quarterback hurries and no sacks. Mm-hmm. They did not get home on you. You had plenty of protection. And again, the bad snaps and the 2 turnovers, ball game right there. It throws off your whole ability to run offense when you have those things going.
I just find it so interesting that, and I've said this before, that in football, I don't know if it's just here or I guess it's everywhere if you go look at this thing, but like immediately everything points to the coach. Everything is on the coach. And to be quite honest with you, I just don't understand it. I mean, this game is clearly easy to define. You missed a field goal. You had a blown assignment. I don't think they coached Tyron Bradley to let that receiver release, and they didn't have Jaheim Joseph on the opposite hash mark. That's not where they told him to stay. But mistakes happen. And then you throw the 2 interceptions. It's like, how is that? Now, I understand the totality of it is this. This program has had higher levels of success. I get that part of it. But I think it's so incorrect to just all of a sudden you just focus on the coach. Like, make a effing play and win the game. It's there for you. Do that. Make the field goal. Go up 10-0. Hold the ball and run with it and get a first down. Make the things like that's not the coach. Now, again, the big picture stuff is you have to win at a higher level that you're accustomed to win. So I get that part of it. But just to immediately say, well, no, it's not. No, it's not. Make the play. That's my takeaway of it.
It's interesting you brought up that play because Dunlap talked about that too, that on that long touchdown pass where the linebacker is supposed to chuck that receiver and push him out of his route, right? That's what you're talking about, right?
Correct.
And that didn't happen.
Correct.
So because of that.
So he gets a free release. Then the safety.
But then the safety's in the wrong
the
spot.
The safety's over on the other hash mark. He's got to go all the way across the field instead of being where he's supposed to be. That's not how they coach it. So kind of like the transitive property. Right?
What's that?
If A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. No, it really isn't. It's not how we coached you to do that. But that's the world you're living in, right? That's what this is based upon. I just think
Well, I agree with you. I agree with you. However, the CEO is going to be held to account.
I get that part of it, but if you want to talk about last night's game, say this. This is why this did not happen for you. That's all I'm saying. Post-game text, probably unlike your others. Typically, I watch the games from home, but I didn't want to miss this inaugural coal rush. I got tickets for my family right near the end zone, second row. However, the very tall, drunk folks in row 1 chose to stand most of the game, blocking our view. And as the game wore on, several of them decided to stay standing with their backs to the field, not even watching, blocked everyone's view. At least they did not drunkenly fall into our laps. Oh, wait, they did that too. Good times. The drone show was neat, high enough to see over the tall drunk madness. End rant. Tough week. Let's go. Eric Morgantown. Dave and Kaiser writes a thing where every time Kaiser loses in high school football, West Virginia does the same. And then when Kaiser wins, West Virginia wins.
Got to...
causation?
Probably correlation, not causation.
Okay.
Or random acts in the universe.
Relatively new listener checks in, first-time texter. 3-hour drive home after a gut-wrenching loss allowed me plenty of time to think. My first memories of attending West Virginia games, 2003 against Virginia Tech. I was 11. Teenage, early to adult years, I became accustomed to success. Since 2012, I have taken each loss as a punch to the gut, longing for the teams I grew to love. I started attending games with my now father-in-law in 2016. I noticed he handled losses differently than I did. And it wasn't until tonight, as we exited the stadium, that I truly understood why. He's calloused, and maybe now I am too. Coach Brown is who he is, and we are who we are. The attached picture of some 3 a.m. number crunching really puts this into perspective. 7 win seasons with the hope to have a special one once in a while is really what we can ask for and realistically ask for. Another big opportunity next week, but for now, I'll get some sleep and maybe a Tudor's biscuit in the morning. Signed by Harry in Harrisville. Graphic there of the winning percentages. Texter, good morning, 3 guys. Another hyped-up game, another disappointing loss. I heard the announcers on Fox say that Rocco wanted to badly play for West Virginia, but they snubbed him. Can anyone tell me if it's true? Anyway, I'll be rooting for Iowa State to run the table and represent the Big 12 in the playoffs. Signed Hot Rod in Woodbridge, Virginia. Again, I don't know. Brandon from Herndon, Virginia. As we get further along the season of Big Candy, my daughter was allowed to check out a Halloween-themed book from the library. She chose a book about the Mothman. As she and my wife read the book, she asked my wife, "Is the Mothman for real?" My wife responded, "Absolutely not." I interjected and said, "I'm afraid you're mistaken. There's a man named Scopes that came out of the talking box, Alexa, in the corner that knows him." My daughter's eyes lit up with fear and excitement. My wife's eyes just rolled.
Yeah.
Brandon and Herndon.
You see what you're doing? You're affecting young children, Tony, with these stories. Damaging these young minds.
Yeah. Vinny from the Valley. I know last night's game was hard to swallow. It might influence my opinions, but I'd like to weigh in on the halftime show. One of the things my kids and I like to see is the pride of West Virginia. One of the best bands in the world, he said country. We look forward to all the great formations marching around the field. The new addition of the LED lights are really cool, and it leads to a really good team entrance and game experience. But as for the halftime drone show, what an overhyped underperformance.
Really?
With all due respect, I'm sure the technology was really cool. What I witnessed was a bad light bright show performed over one end of the stadium that half the fans couldn't see, while the amazing pride of West Virginia stood still in the middle and played background music. For me, it goes to show that change is inevitable, but not all change is good. Vinny from the Valley.
You saw it, right?
Yeah, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I thought it was mesmerizing.
Really?
And it just goes me to show you, Vinny, that it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just like everyone's going to have. You can't please Rick, right? Ricky Nelson. You can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself.
You guys often ask me why I left athletics and I came over here.
Yeah. Well,
I thought the thing was unbelievable.
I had multiple close friends, family members there, so it was an unbelievable thing they saw.
I'd never seen one of those.
What is WVU?
Well, whatever. I mean, Vinny's entitled his opinion, whatever,
Sure.
man.
What's WVU doing, Brad? You're in this. That's your background. WVU with the uniforms. It wasn't their call in the night game with the show at halftime. They're trying to make it what? An event, right? A memorable event surrounding the game. Correct?
Yep.
And they're succeeding. It's cool. It was cool. Well, I tell you what.
What?
We're 18 days away as we record from Halloween.
Uh-oh.
It's time to get yourself that Go-Mart candy. Big Candy's taking over. Big Candy's taking over. You'll go ahead.
No. I had a piece of candy Friday from.
Did you?
Oh, I didn't
Duca.
send that picture to
From
Ethan.
Duca.
I had that. What you're talking about there, Reese peanut butter cups. You can go get them at Go-Mart on site, right? You always go get the pumpkins.
Yes.
Duke at the wine bar at our food court.
Oh, yeah.
Fried those up. Fried up little mini pumpkin Reese peanut butter cup shapes. I'll find that picture somewhere.
I was there Friday.
It was good.
Was busy
Thanks,
talking. Didn't eat anything. Well, ate a couple of little things. And just as I was leaving, Duca hit me up with that, and I thought, man, can I have a deep fried Reese cup on an empty stomach? I did. It was delicious.
You don't want to ask me how many I had then.
How many did you have?
I'm not answering.
No, how many did you have?
Not answering. Go ahead next, Tone.
More than 2? I had 1. It was delicious.
I hold in my hand the Tudor's Biscuit World stainless steel camo mug.
I got 1 too.
This bad boy is unbelievable. It's almost like it's magic. It can keep hot things hot and cold things cold.
But how do it know?
How do it know? Well, right now you can buy one of these and forever, for the rest of your life, get a 24-ounce refill for the price of a small coffee or an iced tea.
Good deal.
Like you get 24 ounces, but you only pay for a small. So you just buy it once. Hoppy's got one over there. He's got blue. I've got one over here that's red. And as you all know, as an avid, successful hunter that I am, whenever I'm out there on the tree stand,
you have one?
I got one of these Tudor's Biscuit World cups. So get that.
I filled mine up with coffee prior to the show, which means we need to move this show along.
Sweet mercy.
Don't read any more of the fire the coach things. Can we just move on to other things?
Well, I mean, you get the theme. I just wanted to be fair. People want to know where our over-unders are at the start of the season. We'll do that. We'll do that a little bit later on. Maybe we'll do that during the off week. Had an unbelievable time at the food court, by the by.
Oh, yeah.
Had an unbelievable time. And I show some of those pictures. Texter comes in, efforting on a Saturday morning brisket on a biscuit and some bowls from Rev Kev with a little 304 washdown. Where is Hoppy? Mike not in Myrtle Beach reports. I thought your attendance at the food court. There's those guys. Mike not Myrtle from Myrtle.
Okay.
They're decked out in their black. They got there early. Looked like they were having a biscuit. They had a little Rev Kev box. It's cool. Texter, not the food court, but a little 304 with a boil will do. A1 Adam in Summersville.
All right.
So he had a boil. He had a crab or a seafood boil going on there, and they had the Connection 304 beer.
Nice.
Well done.
Texter says, barbecue sold out. I had to fall back to the Golden Arches. So this guy, did Rev Kev eventually sell out? I mean, right? The sign of a great barbecue is when they run out.
Yeah.
It is. The brisket went fast, but I was still there at 2:30-ish, 2:15 yesterday, and they were still serving. So I thought they went a little deeper than that.
Texter, guys, my wife and I made our first trip to the food court. Rev Kev barbecue was delicious. Connection 304 was smooth. Mimosa's tasty. Daniels had the best swag I'd ever seen, and Dave and Brad were incredibly nice to spend some time chatting with us. Oh, and Dave's dog, Sage, is a sweetheart. The ideal pre-tailgate spot. On a side note, We had both of my siblings and their spouses at the game together for the first time since my 30th birthday back in 2011. All in all, it's a perfect day until a lamentable second half of football. Roll those pictures. Matt in Tulsa. We often talk about Matt in Tulsa. Here's the 4-pick. There's homeless Dave with Matt in Tulsa. And then go ahead and rotate those through, Ethan. There's the senator.
Yeah, Matt from Tulsa and his brother.
Yeah, which two of those guys work out? And next picture, please. Oh, there's the girls and the guys. Had a big time. And here's our first ever composed picture. Look at this. They dated it for us. Next one, the October one. Come on, Ethan. It says October 2024 on the picture. Apparently not. Okay, fine. You know what? That's fine. Hoppy, you sent some pictures in, didn't you?
Yeah. You want to see mine?
Yeah.
This is from Friday. Had a great time Friday.
Run the Hoppy pictures, Ethan. Well, look at there.
Oh, that's Claire.
Mr. Joviality. Look at Hoppy, all happy.
Baby Claire, 3 months old.
Cute.
Yeah, she was adorable. Good baby. Had a good time with those folks.
What do we have here? Just boys.
Just guys hanging out.
Just food court stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Meeting people. Guys. One of them was from Nevada. Oh, these guys worked in the petroleum industry, and they had been all over the world. I mean, everywhere.
Yeah. Did they like the beer?
Oh, everybody likes the beer.
There's hot. For all the crap we gave him about being antisocial a couple years ago, this guy all of a sudden he's
food
like Johnny.
Court has really helped his social life.
Yeah.
He's done a nice job. He enjoys hanging out at the food court.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do we have here?
A couple of guys at the food court. The guy on my right is a heart doctor.
Excuse me?
Heart doctor. Had him check me. I said, I know you get this all the time. I had him check me for AFib while I was there. And he said at that moment, oh, there's P1.
Jennings.
There's Jennings without his beard.
P1 Jennings.
Oh,
hey, look there. Look at there.
We got a big family shot there. Just all kinds of people there. So also shout out to the Iowa State fans. They showed up.
Good for them.
Yeah, how'd
they know about it?
I don't know how they knew, but they found it and they said, this is the greatest thing in the world. Why don't more schools do this?
Well, because we're
not a school.
Yeah.
We're just just a bunch of dumb guys. And there he is.
Oh,
Mike Clement. That's Hudson's dad.
And Murphy's dad.
And Murphy's dad. I keep saying that. The Clement kids' dad. He was outstanding.
Oh my gosh, really good.
He booked again. He's doing it again next Friday.
He played.
Re-signed him.
It was about 9:30 Friday before he wrapped up his set. He kept going. His wife Tracy was there. They had a great group, fun group from Martinsburg. That was there. They were hanging out. That was awesome.
You know what? And you know what he did? He sat down, got his guitar out. He played about 2 hours before taking a break. He just kept rolling. And I mean, his playlist is varied. When I took that picture there, he was playing his version of "Sympathy for the Devil" by the Rolling Stones. No kidding.
Yeah.
So
he was really good.
He's been playing since was 17. We had a chat afterward.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
3 guys before the games brought to us by our good friends. I told you earlier about Go-Mart. They got a little deal going on here. Question is this: are your taste buds craving something out of this world? Look no farther than the timeless moon pie. You heard me right. Perfect combination. Fluffy marshmallow, buttery graham cracker, and rich chocolate. Moon pie is the ultimate snack for any time. Don't wait for the craving to strike. Grab a moon pie or 9 at your local Go-Mart. And keep this in mind. The ultimate tailgate package includes a $200 Go-Mart gift card, tailgating supplies, pop-up tent, portable grill cooler. Contest ends on Halloween. To sign up, go to gomart.com for details.
Also got that deal on pumpkins and the Snickers pumpkins. I need to go get one of those. I was there for gas yesterday.
Didn't get one?
Well, I had to get to the food court. I didn't have time to run in and talk to my guys over there and find out where the pumpkins were.
Snickers.
Pumpkin-shaped Snickers. Which is nice. Hey, real quick before we get out of here, speaking of the food court, was delivered a gift.
Well, that's really nice.
MJ in Savannah.
Oh, we know
our good
her.
friend MJ. I've not looked at this. She said they were individually packaged, so I was supposed to deliver to all 3. Hoppy, I pointed out every time Tony's supposed to deliver, it never makes it.
Never does. Never.
But that I would.
Thank you. What do you got there? Don't know.
What we got?
Oh, some kind of a claw.
Little milk chocolate bear claws.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
These look good.
Yeah, those won't be
Might
too
take
hard.
this down right now.
Those won't be too hard. Okay.
Good.
Hey, couple of
Thanks,
things.
by the way. Thanks, MJ. It was great to see you,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for being there.
She's the best. Made in Savannah. That's where she lives. Made in Savannah.
River Street Sweets. Milk chocolate bear claw.
Only 250 calories. 24
That's
grams.
not too bad. That's
24 grams of sugar.
Oops.
That sounds good. Anyway,
Hey, Rev Kev, you might not have had any of this because it was Friday. Rev Kev was floating out something new. Did you hear about that?
the turkey
The turkey. You knew about that?
got a little bit.
It is really, really good.
I bought a beef rib from him.
Did you?
Brought it to the house. Ate on that thing 3 times.
The turkeys. This was like a, what do you call it? Like a beta, a test run, or an hour? Test run, and they were just taking it around and it was so moist. You know how the white meat turkey is dry? It was so moist.
Sure.
And he says they take the turkey and they soak it in brine for 2 days, and they're going to roll it out Thanksgiving. I ordered one
Really? For Thanksgiving?
for Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can order, if you're coming to the game and want a Rev Kev tailgate pan, orders are now being accepted at thesourcewv.org, thesourcewv.org. Same deal. A full brisket sliced, 2 pounds of pork, 2 pounds of chicken, feeds between 15 to 17 people. $200. All the money from the source goes, it's a nonprofit, goes to fund various programs, including the kids' lunchbox programs here in the elementary schools in Monongalia County, and a bunch of other stuff that they do. So you can go to thesourcewv.org, pre-order. They only do 50 of those.
This Three Guys tailgate, it's become a thing.
Mm-hmm. It has.
It has.
Yeah, it's going to probably take us into retirement,
And
probably.
Homeless Dave, I was talking to him, and his daughter Emma was there, Brad,
Terrific.
previous week.
Terrific.
Did a great job. And Emma doesn't understand any of this. Like, what's going on? Why are all these people here? And
She
Dad,
struggles with it.
why does everybody want your picture made? Because now it's like everybody wants their picture made with Homeless Dave.
Sure.
Yeah, we're
As they
kingmakers.
should.
We're
Yeah.
kingmakers. We make people big. We build brands for people.
Yeah.
Do it
By the way,
advertise.
our lemonade friends will be back on
Oh,
Friday
good.
and Saturday.
Oh, good.
That'll be
Tasty
good.
Town Lemonade. That's good
Oh.
stuff. Had a bunch of requests for them this week. Asked if they were going to be there.
And
Brownie
the Brownie
House.
people?
Brownie House.
I
They were
took 2 of those home.
They were good. Did you have them yet? They're good.
Had one of them, the chocolate. Like they made a special one for Coal Rush,
right.
like chocolate.
Yeah.
Had
good.
it last night,
Excellent.
just before bed.
Probably not the right time to have it.
I couldn't wait. It was really good.
Thanks for being with us, as they say. Thanks for having us. 3 Guys Before the Game brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By GoMart. Stop. Get your food, get your fuel, get that GoMart Rewards card. Go to GoMart.com for details. By Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way. Get yourself a Tudor's biscuit. Knock yourself
I didn't
out.
bring you any today. Sorry.
No. By Lou Wendell Marine
I didn't eat either before I
Sales
came. I
in
was hungry.
St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com.
Didn't execute.
Shout out to the
Nor did I.
Avalons. 3 Guys Spreads on Stats, brought to us by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. All right. Thursday, we're back. We'll preview the Mountaineers and K-State. Maybe talk a little smidge of basketball.
Oh, Friday, right?
Mountaineers
Starts Friday.
open the season on
We're officially
Friday
in basketball game week, Tony.
evening. This is
It's
game
game
week.
week.
Yeah, it is game week
Game
for the
week.
Mountaineers.
It probably means. So, are we doing Friday night for 3 Guys tailgate?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
tailgates
open.
from 4
Same time, 4 to 9.
4 to
Ish.
9 on Friday, and then Saturday probably 8 again.
What time's the game on Friday?
Might not start as early on
Maybe
Saturday.
9 or 10 or something.
Yeah, might back that up a little bit.
Okay,
Yep.
we're out. Ethan, our producer, he's terrific. Huh?
Terrific.
Tremendous.
He just one of the
Nice
all-time
job.
great.
He had a
Ethan's-
quick turnaround hit too. He
Yeah,
was
he did.
Oh, he's got great.
there
feet.
late last night. Boom, in today.
He's got great feet.
He's young.
Ethan's got great
Can
feet.
do it.
Terrific. All right, we're out. See you.